Welcome to today's Explainer. We're talking about the pig, overcoming personal instant gratification. And you know what? We're actually skipping the usual agenda today because I really just want to drop you straight into a universal struggle that I know we all face every single day. Look, we all have dreams, right? We have goals, we have this vivid vision for who we want to be. Yet time and time again, we end up sacrificing that beautiful future for just a brief fleeting moment of immediate comfort. We know exactly what we should do, but we do the exact opposite. So why is that? I want you to really reflect on this for a second. Why do we continuously sabotage our own long-term goals? Think about that heavy, lingering pain of long-term regret. You set a goal to get healthy, to write that novel, to finally save some money, and then boom, you find yourself eating the cake, binge watching TV for 6 hours, or clicking buy now on something you don't even need. It's incredibly frustrating, isn't it? Well, today, we are going to unpack exactly why this happens, and far more importantly, how we can actually stop it. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, meet your pig, the villain of your mind. Let's identify the invisible psychological enemy that's causing all of this daily sabotage. Allow me to introduce you to the pig. This stands for personal instant gratification. It's a really powerful mnemonic reminder designed to stop you from trading your long-term goals for quick, immediate rewards. Now, gratification itself is simply the happiness you feel when a desire is fulfilled. Totally normal. But when you demand it right now at the expense of your future self, you're basically empowering a villain, because the ability to delay gratification is absolutely vital for your willpower. Throughout this whole explainer, I want you to repeat this core mantra with me. Do not feed the pig. Every single day, you're faced with a fundamental internal conflict. On one side, you have short-term comfort. This is feeding the pig. It gives you this fleeting high, a momentary rush of relief or pleasure. But on the exact opposite side, you have long-term regret. When you feed the pig, you are literally starving your future. That fleeting high, it is so quickly replaced by a heavy, lasting weight of disappointment in yourself. Moving on to Section 2, the procrastination playground. Because to truly stop feeding the pig, we kind of need to understand where this fight is actually taking place. Now, what's really interesting about this is the fascinating cast of characters operating inside your brain right now. First, you have the rational decision maker. That's the smart you, the one trying to act responsibly. But then, there's the instant gratification monkey. This monkey essentially teams up with your pig to completely hijack the rational decision maker, always preferring comfort and distraction. Then we have future you, who technically doesn't exist yet, but is the poor soul left to suffer the consequences of the monkey's actions. And finally, the panic monster. This guy wakes up at the absolute last minute, screaming, forcing you to act in a state of pure crisis just to meet a deadline. Honestly, it's a terrible way to live. But wait, it actually gets even more complex. All of these characters are essentially riding on the shoulders of an 800-pound gorilla. And that gorilla is your unconscious mind. Your unconscious naturally seeks safety, comfort, and familiar habits over hard work. It's wildly powerful, and it goes exactly where it wants to go. If your unconscious gorilla knows that eating chocolate makes you feel calm, it just says, yes, please, and grabs the candy totally regardless of what your rational decision maker actually wants. So, Section 3, the limits of willpower. When faced with this chaotic mental playground, society usually just tells us to try harder, but we need to bust that massive misconception right now. Just look at this fantastic quote from the source material. People recommend willpower like it's a pill, but they don't understand that low energy is influencing their behavior and mood. Willpower is absolutely not some magical force you can just summon out of thin air. It's actually a finite, exhaustible muscle, and it's tied directly to your biological energy levels. Basically, if you have low energy, you are guaranteed to have low willpower. And this brilliantly illustrates when things go wrong. Your willpower is most likely to fail under very specific conditions, which we remember using the acronym HALTS. You are completely vulnerable to feeding the pig when you are hungry, angry, lonely, tired, or sick. When you experience any of these physical or emotional states, your energy just plummets, your willpower vanishes, and that instant gratification monkey grabs the steering wheel. Seriously, you should never make major decisions or step into difficult situations when HALTS is in effect. Which brings us to a vital distinction. Willpower is short-lived. It's an exhausting burst of energy you use to literally force yourself to do something. You just can't rely on it forever. Self-discipline, on the other hand, that is habitual. It's the automatic, highly sustainable power you get when you've trained your mind through consistent habits. The secret is that you use your temporary willpower to build your lasting self-discipline. Section 4. The power of prudence. If willpower isn't the ultimate permanent answer, we need a trait that can actually step up and manage that 800-pound gorilla. Enter our hero, prudence. In personality psychology, prudence is a term for the conscientiousness domain. It means being both wise and cautious. Essentially, it's your ability to consider future consequences before you act on impulse. Prudence is the absolute hallmark of human intelligence, and it is the ultimate, undeniable antidote to the instant gratification monkey. Which leads us directly to this crucial formula. Mature decision-making equals the ability to delay gratification. Intelligent decisions are entirely rooted in your psychological ability to wait for a reward rather than just snatching it up immediately. When you practice prudence, you are actively, consciously choosing your future over a momentary thrill. You are starving the pig. Let's move to Section 5. How to starve the pig. Okay, so we know the enemy, and we know our hero. But how do we actually execute this in real life? Well, we've got 4 precise, highly practical tools to bypass all that fear and hesitation and start building unstoppable momentum. Step 1 is the 5-second rule. When you know you need to act, just count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and physically move before your doubt kicks in. Step 2 is the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do not schedule it, just do it immediately. Step 3 is all about micro-commitments. Break your huge, scary task down to the absolute smallest possible action, like just write a single sentence. And step 4, implementation intentions. Create a hard rule. If X happens, then I do Y. For example, if I feel overwhelmed, then I will take a 10-minute walk. These tools literally lock your decisions into forward motion. But listen to me, relying solely on your willpower at the exact moment of temptation, that's a losing battle for sure. You absolutely must proactively design your environment for success. Pre-pack your gym bag the night before. Get all the junk food completely out of your living area. Turn off your phone when you really need to focus. You are setting up your environment so that making the right choice becomes the absolute easiest choice. You're essentially outsmarting your own instant gratification monkey before it even wakes up. So the crucial point is this. When you are totally overwhelmed and the pig is just screaming for attention, fall back on this deeply profound yet incredibly simple mantra. Do the next right thing. When you don't know how you're ever going to finish that massive project, simplify your choice, reduce the burden, stop looking at the whole mountain, and just focus on doing the very next right thing right in front of you, because action builds momentum. Finally, Section 6. The pain of discipline versus the pain of regret. Let's bring this explainer all the way back to its emotional core. Take a second to really let this powerful quote sink in. You can suffer the pain of discipline, or you can suffer the pain of regret. Honestly, this is the ultimate truth of human existence. Both of these choices involve suffering. Discipline is hard, guys. Delaying gratification is really uncomfortable. But the pain of discipline builds a beautiful, meaningful life. The pain of regret, that just slowly destroys it. Which brings us to our final thought for today. What will you choose the next time your pig demands to be fed? Because you know it's going to happen. When that urge hits you later today or tomorrow morning, are you going to surrender to the monkey? Or will you stand firm in your prudence, remember your long-term goals, and just do the next right thing? The choice is entirely yours. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this leaves you curious to start exploring the hidden habits driving your own life.